Everyone, it's Libby from Maighstir Tarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, the traditional custodians of the land on which these videos are made, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides and the universal energies. Right, it's a cloudy, windy, warm day today. Just keeping an eye out because if it starts raining, I have to nip out and get the washing in. But let's get started. Let sleeping dogs lie. Okay, I'm using the Golden Universal Tarot, the poor old beaten up box. What I want to have a look at in this particular reading, and entertainment only, and I'm just going to say, even though they look really red in this light, my eyes are so much better. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think I did find the cause. It wasn't spots medication because they started before that. We don't use air conditioning during the winter because we have in slab under the timber floors heating. It appears it was washing powder and a cushion that I was using to rest my tablet on while I was hearting comments and commenting back, etc., going through the comments of an evening on the sofa. Went to go and take the innards out to wash the cover, and they were literally this microplastic, disintegrated, disgusting mess of a whatever. Obviously, the cushion had gone through the wash with its innards in it at several times. So needless to say, the whole lot went in the bin, and I could feel it when I pulled those innards out. My eyes went, ah! So getting better. Okay, what do I want to have a look at in this reading? Sorry about that. That's a quack or waffle that you guys hear way too much, so I will stop talking about them. I want to have a look at the French Prime Minister Francois Bayrou. Now, I do apologise if I pronounced that wrong. I really need to spend 6 months in France to get my French happening properly. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So Macron, we know Manuel Macron, he is the president, so he's like for us in Australia and Canada and stuff, it's like the king. I won't say he is the king because it is an elected position, but he's the top dog, and underneath him they have the Prime Minister. Now the Prime Minister is in charge of the day-to-day governmental running, and he is elected to the position out of the party that has, or coalition that has, the majority. So for example, in Australia, our Labor Party has the majority in government, both in the House and the Senate, but it's the House. It comes from the House majority. They elected Anthony Albanese within their ranks to the position of leader. So he can be removed if he misbehaves himself as his position of leader by, again, from within the ranks of the Labor Party. So we have the Labor Party has the majority in government. They elected Anthony Albanese, and but above Anthony Albanese we have the Governor General, who is the representative of King Charles, who can step in if absolutely necessary. In the 125 years of Australian Federation, the Queen, I believe, Queen Elizabeth at the time, the monarch has only stepped in once to dissolve government. But what we're happening at the moment in France, and it is a financial juggling nightmare. So what is happening at the moment is on the 8th of September, there is a vote going to the government parliament, the French parliament, in regards to the budget cuts because of mounting French deficit. This is the country of France borrowing money to basically operate. They did a while back try to raise the retirement age. There were mass protests in the street, and that failed. That's a tricky one because when the retirement age and pension, in Australia is the same, when the retirement age and the pension age was introduced, again about just around 100 years ago, the average lifespan, I think it's about 3 out of every 5 workers actually lived past the retirement age, and if they did, they basically lived maximum of 5 years beyond it. So there was like 10 workers for every person on the pension. The stats now, because of the retirement age and people living significantly longer, the stats are there's about 2 people working in Australia for every person that is over retirement age and getting some sort of pension. So the figures just don't add up. Now, I'm not just saying it's just the pension figures, the retirement age, but the French government, this is why I think they had the last vote of no confidence in the government, did try to raise the retirement age, and there were mass protests and it failed. So at the moment, the deficit in France is about 5.8% of GDP, the gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is the gross amount, this is before tax and before expenses, etc. The gross amount of money shifting around the economy, whether it's through services, products, etc. Oh, speaking of which, I believe Europe is no longer shipping to the US because the tariff, nobody has a clue what with the tariffs. So the US government hasn't got anything in place to actually collect them. So anyhow, I gather Europe's not shipping either, same as Australia. So these budget cuts are looking at reducing $44 billion from the French government spending schedule. But there is room for negotiation, they have said. The opposition parties have already vowed to block everything. Well, that's not a way to run a government. That's what the GOP did in the second half of Biden's presidential term. That's what the GOP did in Obama's second term. It just means that governance just grinds to a halt and it's a stalemate of finger pointing and blaming. Marine Le Pen, the far-right, Putin-loving, Trump-adoring conservative, let me put it like that. So if you're a Le Pen fan, this is not the channel for you. But Marine Le Pen is calling for dissolution of the government. Now, what happens is that if they are the government is unable to pass a budget under Francois Bayrou, there can be a vote of no confidence, which does dissolve the government, and France goes to the polls once again. Okay, but I just want to have a look to see whether I found this, but room for negotiation was really key. Sorry about my big long waffle. The room for negotiation. So what I'm really feeling is like any negotiation, you go in with absolutely everything that you want, no matter how minute, no matter how unnecessary something is. If you're going into a negotiation, you go in with absolutely everything, and then you give up some stuff. Oh, well, I can actually do without that, So you give up a few bits and bobs until you actually meet in the middle with middle ground. So I just want to see how this is going to go. Show me about the room for negotiation. Will this budget be negotiated? It feels like you don't need to get everything through in this one budget, is what I actually got when I was writing this down. So show me this room for negotiation. There's stuff that can be kicked down the road, but there is some serious stuff that needs to happen. Australia's looking at major tax reform coming in the near future. We did have some reports on that about 10 years ago saying we needed major tax reform and nothing happened. But let's have a look. What do I need to know about this room for negotiation? Come on down, 10 minutes of waffle. Gee, I'm getting really good at waffle, aren't I? Okay, the Queen of Swords. This is an internal strategy. Swords can mean legal, they can mean intellectual, there's lots of meanings for swords, cutting through, etc. Truth, brutal honesty, etc. But there is a brutal honesty that's being brought forward here as well. That the French government needs to make cuts, or else the country itself is going to be in dire straits. It's a brutal honesty. It's a brutal truth that is being brought forward. There are cuts that are necessary, but queens are also internally doing, for me, kings are external action, queens are internal action. This is a strategy that's come forward. It's almost like punch with the 1-2 and then put the ice pack on it type thing. Okay. And it's all about money. It's all about stability of government. It's all about the government able to meet its commitments. And it is about keeping the government, what was that word? It popped in and popped out again. Where you actually have a cash flow. Liquid? No, liquid's not the word I was, oh gosh, it popped in and popped out. I hate it when the guides do that to me. But basically keeping the functioning of the government flush, not flush, but, financially stable. So this is about financial stability of government. Financially responsible government, slow and steady, movement forward, but at the moment it's actually stopped, this horse, but looking out towards moving forward, looking forward to the future. So I think that there's this, harsh reality is part of the strategy about cuts that need to be made. I mean, you've got two options. If you don't have enough money, the two options are you make more money, ergo you increase your taxes, because that's how the government raises its money, whatever form those taxes take, whether it be income tax or a fuel excise or tariffs or whatever it is. You either increase your income or you cut your expenses. So, just on the me and thee scale, you either increase your hours at work or get a second job or start a side hustle or something along that path, or you cut what you're spending. You might not have meat 5 days a week. You might cut it back to 3 days a week or something along those lines. So it's fiscally responsible government is what they're telling me. In the past, the energy that they're stewing in is the dreams of the past, the delusion. I'm going to say the delusion of the past. Again, as I said, in the past you had 10 taxpayers for every person that was drawing a pension. Now it's down to 2 to 1. It is financially unsound. It can't continue. It's like the hole in the bucket is bigger than the faucet that's pouring the water into the bucket. Eventually that bucket will run dry. This is what they're dealing with, is the glamorization and the deluded concept about how wonderful things were in the past. They weren't. I'm just going to say they weren't. But the human nature is we look at the best and ignore the worst. Okay. There is not enough money. Well, there is, but they can't harvest it in the past. As I said, you either put your income up or you reduce your expenses. So this might be part of the negotiation, is that they might look at actually increasing the income. Only have to charge companies like Google and Amazon, etc., 10% of all the transactions that take place in a country to raise billions, tens of billions. It would pay for this budget deficit. So this is about looking at financial options. What can they harvest? That's in the past. Crowning this reading, we've got the infighting, which resolves nothing. So the energy over this is the finger pointing, blaming, whacking each other on the head, infighting, instead of working together to come up with the solution. This is the opposition parties. I believe the French government has been formed by coalitions, by several parties joining together. But yeah, the arguing in the immediate future. is packing up this truth and moving it from the turmoil into calmer waters. Under the Knight of Cloaked here is what I'm really been drawn to. There might be, while this squabbling is going on, there might be some legal decision that's made that will move this forward. Let's see where we go. Moderation, balance, pouring from cup to cup, the alchemy of the sum of its the end result is greater than the sum of its parts type thing. Trying to come up with a solution here, and it is this big judgment moment. There is no denying the deficit. There's no denying the people rising up, and the people might rise up against the cuts as well. It's something about there's a big warning here that's waking people up. I think this is waking people up is what I'm getting rather than a protest. This is more my protests. This is the here and now, the past, the going forward. I think this is a big wake-up call. How's it going to turn out? You've got the hopes and fears, the Chariot, the inability to move forward. The inability to move forward. It can be moving forward chaotically, but the inability to move forward. There is some home truths here that are going to be painful. Secrets coming to the surface that are unpleasant. You've got the wolf, the domestic dog, and the wolf, the two sides of humanity, the brutal side and the calmer side. It's not going to be an easy path to go forward here. There's going to be ups and downs, working together behind the scenes in regards to the money, and then we have this new beginning. I'm going to say this is the negotiations that go on behind the scenes. There's some really quite harsh reality here. The government, I think the government's going to get it passed, but then they have to defend it against the people. There is a harsh reality here. Really, really harsh truth coming forward in regards to this. We've got the working hard. This is the ordinary workers that just feel like they're in the millstone grinding, in the mill grinding away, going through the paces. But we've then got some legal action and a Tower card. I don't like this. This might end up in legal action against this is what I'm getting. Actions having consequences. It's like a brutal reality about the finances, the money coming in, the money going out. Actions will have consequences, and we've got the Tower here. This is a peace offering being made, just trying to get everybody's wishes and wants and hopes to the castle on the hill, but it's going to be tricky. And then we have the Death card, the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. I was asking about the negotiation. Deals done behind the scenes. That is it stepping off the cliff or is it a new beginning? Could be having the government step off a cliff as it needs to defend its position, because we've got the Death card and we've got the Tower card and we've got, okay. So I'm going to ask, is the French government under PM Francois Bayrou going to face a disillusionment and no confidence vote, which means government gets dissolved and the French go to the election again? Is the French government under Francois Bayrou going to be forced to dissolve and the French go to the elections again over this budget? Well, this is the new beginning. Well, oh, and there's the Tower on the bottom. I think, yes, maybe they will. So there's the negotiation going to happen, but I just don't think, because we had that Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is just trying to keep it all together and get it to the end goal, but I don't think, but basically you can't. Walking off the cliff, the Tower. Trying to find a path forward. The challenge is trying to find a path forward. That would be my Marie Le Pen card. Don't like her. That's just how it goes. This is the energy that they're having to deal with, is Marie Le Pen and her ilk. Very much destroy, tear down, disagree for the sake of destroying, tearing down and disagreeing. They don't actually bring any solutions to the table. In the past, this is this brutal truth, crowning the reading, trying to, again, this difficult path forward where you've got the two fighting factions. The immediate future, you've got the government itself, externally, finding itself exposed, and then we've got the loss, 3-2 loss, just everything being brought to a grinding halt, some sort of legal action. Four of Wands. The government work will continue, but let's see where it goes. And then we've got an uneasy alliance that will get through a reduced budget. Tower. Secrets being revealed. Death. Defending. The Wheel of Fortune. The Devil. Oh, these are yicky cards. Plan coming to fruition for the voter. Betrayal. Restriction, harsh truth, and then the inability to harvest. Planning behind the scenes, it's going to be their legacy. Oh gosh, I don't like those cards at all. I'm getting that the opposition and the populace will be stirred up by the likes of Le Pen through, I'm just going to say, could be some disinformation, misinformation, propaganda. It's going to undermine everything. But it doesn't, but they don't have a solution. That's all I can say. They don't have a solution. Oh, gosh. So show me the, are the French going to end up going back to the polls? If you can hear that, that's my daughter has come out of her room and opened the hall cupboard. Let's have a quick look. She's nipped out the laundry door to go get the washing in because it looks like it's starting to rain. Good on her. Let's have a look. Laundry's halfway down the hallway. Will the French be forced to go? Will there be the French be forced to go to an election? Well, there's the government itself on the back foot, trying to defend its position. Again, the inability to do anything in the past, a reduced budget coming forward. We've got crowning the reading, the stability of government, but the wheel is turning. I think they're going to. We've got deceit, betrayal, heartbreak, loss, despair externally, internally by those who would financially gain from this disruption. Moving forward, but yeah, out in the cold, be careful what you wish for, and again, moving on. Could be militaristic, bombastic, or just moving on, or inability to move on. Thank you. And then you've got the ending, a new beginning, something unexpected out of left field, bruised and battered, back up against the wall, a harsh truth, and the wealthy will get wealthy and everybody else will miss out. I do feel it's a yes. I do feel it's a yes. That we'll wait to see. What a mess. But what's going to happen is the people who forced this to occur by believing the propaganda and the carry on, very possibly will live to regret it, because they'll find that there's puppy dogs everywhere. They will find that the spread, the troublemakers don't have a solution, is what I'm getting. So I'm just going to ask, finally, will the current French government be able to get in a budget through? Will the current French government compromise, no compromise? Will they be able to get a budget through? Will the French government be able to get a budget through? Okay, come on down. No, I don't think they will. They're going to try their hardest. They're going to compromise. It's almost like they're going to give the opposition everything they want, but it's still, the opposition will still block it. Going to find themselves fully exposed and naked. Be careful what you wish for. It's a plan that is being brought in from overseas to cause chaos, and we've got the Tower. We've got some sort of legal ruling here, or a strategy action being taken on a strategy, and then moving on externally, internally. This could be the legal ruling to dissolve government, the manipulation that occurred to bring this about, the outcome, Queen of Cups. Whoever this Queen of Cups is not telling you everything. The government's being forced to retreat, and there is going to be celebration. The three other parties are going to celebrate, and you've got the Fool card, the new beginning, but it's foolish. New beginning. You've got the voters. Where am I going? You've got then this may be Le Pen, or it might be some other female having control of the purse gets in, but they don't have a plan. They've got a big stick. They want to be the star. They want to go back to how things were, but you can't. And this sort of anger at trying to hold on to the, anger over the, I'm almost going to say empty coffers, but may find that the financial restrictions under, I don't like it, because the financial restrictions under this the other parties, is going to be even tighter. It's a tightening up of the finances, because when they're going to make all these promises to look after everybody and get everybody they needed, but when they get in, they're going to find that the income is just not there. Oh. So yeah, I do feel that, but like every other country at the moment, they're having to go through a FAFO moment and F around and find out that what they are being spouted at, promised. I could promise anything. I could promise to give you guys $1 million each. Vote for me, I'll give you $1 million each. Doesn't mean I got $1 million for every single one of you. In fact, no, I haven't got. Oh, by a long shot. Even if I won lotto, I still wouldn't. But you get what I mean. It's when you're troublemaking opposition, you can promise anything to get into power. You promise the world. But if you haven't got the world to give, you can't fulfill that promise. And that's what the US is finding out, and I think France is going to have to find this out too. That was a depressing reading. If it all comes to pass, or some of these stages come through, knowing that things can change, because this room for negotiation is really important. If they can convince some of these parties to actually see reality, it will be really important. So after the 8th of September, I'll have another look. Okay, love to you all. Take care.